Here's why Lex Luthor is the perfect villain for Superman and why I think including him in Superman Legacy is an excellent choice. What's up guys, welcome back to Superhero Legacy. My name is Liam and in today's video I want to talk about Lex Luthor as a villain, kind of doing a psychoanalysis of who he is, what he wants, why he's the perfect villain for Superman, and the inclusion of this character inside of Superman Legacy. I recently got a comment on my latest YouTube video asking to do a video on the character of Lex Luthor. I do have to say that I don't have a very extensive knowledge of actors out there who might be able to play Lex Luthor very well. However, what I did want to do is kind of describe why he is such an interesting character and a great villain to Superman, as well as discuss some of the important things I think the actor to play Lex Luthor and Superman Legacy should bring. So Lex Luthor was introduced in DC Comics back in the 1940s, and back then he was really just a very typical, generic, very baseline supervillain. But over the years, Lex Luthor has evolved into a multifaceted, complex, layered supervillain who, in my opinion, is one of the best written characters in all of DC Comics. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this character, Lex Luthor is a main villain to Superman, and he possesses no superhuman abilities. However, he is a top-class genius and his intellectual abilities far surpass anyone else. Lex Luthor's intellectual abilities lie in the areas of science, technology, business, human development, and pretty much any area of expertise. Beyond being just very smart, Lex Luthor also has a lot of resources and he's very wealthy. He owns LexCorp, which gives him easy access to a lot of high-end, very valuable technological weaponry, as well as artifacts that are extremely rare. Being a very successful businessman, Lex Luthor also has connections in every corner of the world, allowing him to have access to anything and anyone whenever he pleases. Using his wealth, power, and genius, Lex has on numerous occasions conquered parts of the world and achieved high statuses of leadership, including presidency. This character will do anything to stay at the top, to prove himself better than everyone else, and to have people keep their faith in him. He lies, manipulates, blackmails, and even kills to show people how much power and control he has in order to stay at the top. Lex has an extreme superiority complex and genuinely believes that he is better than everyone. He craves power and fame to an enormous degree, and there's a reason why during the Blackest Night event he was subjected to the Orange Lantern ring of greed and avarice. Lex is also tremendously arrogant, and he strongly believes in the philosophy of people working hard and earning their statuses and becoming the best possible selves that they can. He also honors the idea of social Darwinism and believes that the strong will survive and that the weak need to adapt and become better in order to make it in this cruel world. This also correlates with Lex's belief that he is better than everyone.
I'm better! I am better!
He knows and everyone else knows that his genius far surpasses anybody else, and because of that, he should be the rightful ruler of the world. Now, the reason why I think Lex is the perfect villain to Superman is because he is the antithesis, he resembles the exact opposite of everything that Superman represents. Superman is kind, compassionate, selfless, wholehearted, and optimistic, while Lex is extremely self-conceited, arrogant, cold, cruel, and emotionless. One of the reasons that Lex hates Superman is because he's an alien. He's an outsider that so quickly earned the respect and love of the people. While Superman just showed up with these incredible powers and can essentially do anything, Lex had to climb the ladder, and it took a lot of work and time to be able to do that. He can't stand the idea of someone else being that beacon of hope, and what truly upsets him even more is that Superman represents everything that's opposite of Lex. Superman won the hearts of the people because of his goodness, his kindness, his willingness to do anything no matter what it takes to do the right thing, no matter if he's this godlike creature. We've seen in various times in comics where Lex gets the powers of Superman, and we know he would use those powers to subject people under his rule. Lex would certainly not use his powers like Superman would and help the weak people. Lex only believes in the strong, and he would use that to leverage his power against everyone else. I think one of the biggest components of Lex Luthor as a character and why he hates Superman is because of what superheroes, including Superman, do to normal people. Remember that Lex believes that people should do the work and strive to become the best forms of themselves and not be weak. Well, imagine Superman arrives, and what need is there to adapt, to change when you have someone who can do everything for you, to keep you safe, to rely on someone to do everything that you can't. And this frustrates Lex Luthor so much, and rightfully so. This is a valid belief because in numerous times in comics, we've seen Superman and the Justice League become absent, and the normal people and citizens have no idea what to do. If normal people and 100% invested their faith, trust, and reliance onto superheroes, and they suddenly vanished, well, then they would be defenseless, incompetent, and when a true threat did arise, they'd have no means of fighting and they'd probably die. And in a way, Lex Luthor is completely right. There have been numerous stories. Remember Forever Evil, when the Justice League were completely gone and nobody knew where they were or what happened to them? It was up to Lex Luthor to be able to save the world. And at the end of the day, he did earn some level of respect and appreciation because he was the one to be able to save the world and not the superheroes. There's a good chance that without Lex and his team, the world just would have withered and died under the rule of Ultraman. Another reason why I think Lex is a perfect antagonist to Superman is because Superman is this incredible godlike being who has all of these crazy powers and can do all of these incredible things, but Lex is just a normal guy. And that's kind of the reason why the legendary and renowned All-Star Superman comic is so interesting, because Lex Luthor was able to trick Superman to fly too close to the sun and be subjected to radiation poisoning, which ultimately led him to his death. That's the true danger of Lex Luthor, is that he is wildly capable in his intellect, but what makes him really threatening is along with his intellect, he also has the ambition and the willingness to act on that and to do bad things. In that comic, Clark Kent Superman straight up tells Lex Luthor that he can do way more good than Superman could ever do, but Lex Luthor doesn't care about anyone else. Lex Luthor only cares about himself. This is a very thematic villain. He's not a physically threatening one. How easy would it have been to make the main villain of Superman this heavy-set, very strong and powerful villain that could just wail and beat up on Superman equally in terms of power? What makes Lex so interesting is what he represents, what Superman never will be like. It also represents what people could become, what humanity could be like if they were all evil, if they were all dark and corrupted with greed and arrogance. Superman is an aspirational character. He's supposed to make people want to be better. There's a reason why Superman is so fictional, why he has so many powers, and I hate it when people say he's too overpowered, he has no weaknesses. Well, that's the point. Superman is not supposed to be realistic. He's not supposed to be someone that we can become. He's supposed to be someone that we can aspire to be. He's that moving line in the sand that people are always trying to work toward. He constantly wants to push people to be better than themselves and to become better people. And does that sound familiar? Of course. That's what Lex wants, but they do it in two completely different ways. And that's why Lex hates Superman. The world is dark. The world is dangerous. The world is unforgiving and cruel. There are bad people out there. Things bad happen all the time. That's just the reality of the world. And Lex wants people to realize that and become better people because of it, not because of the innate goodness that Superman believes are in everybody. This is why Lex is such a great character and such a great villain to Superman. What he can do, what inevitably he will do, represents the badness of humanity, the destructive power that humanity could have, and Superman wants people to be better than that. This is a motivation for Superman to encourage people not to become like Lex, and he even wants Lex to be not Lex, but this is who he is. That's just the character that he's always been, and I love Lex Luthor because that's the reality of people. There are bad people who will do bad things if they have these great powers and abilities. There are some people who won't use them for good. There are people who will use them for destructive power, who will use them to manipulate and control people. That's what Lex Luthor is, the divergent path from the goodness that humanity is ultimately capable of doing. I think this character is very underrated and underappreciated, and I think he is pivotal to Superman legacy. What better way to introduce a new version of Superman, one that's colorful, compassionate, wholehearted, believes in the goodness of people, than giving us a villain that truly represents something opposite to all of those things. I think Lex is critical to have in this movie because it establishes the two completely different halves that humanity can take, the two different types of people that are out there. If there was no Lex in this universe, there'd be no challenge to Superman and what he represents. There needs to be some form of opposition to show the unwavering faith, to show the sturdiness of a character like Superman and what he is able to show to people. Now, I don't want Lex to be introduced as the main villain for this movie and then die at the end of it. That would be such a total waste. That would be so disappointing. We need Lex as a character. He needs to be fleshed out and developed over the course of a long time. This is a very multi-layered, complex character, and I think in order for people to truly understand the totality, the cohesiveness of this character, we need to spend time with him. It's going to take more than one movie to truly understand what makes this character tick, why he hates Superman, why he's a perfect villain to Superman, what kind of his values and beliefs are for people in life, and why he represents a true threat. A man who has no superpowers but is fully competent in his skills and uses those skills for bad things. We do not need another version of this character like we saw in Batman v Superman with Jesse Eisenberg. That was a total failed attempt, and it's because we had so many things going on in that movie that we were never able to spend time on Lex Luthor and why he hates Superman and what he believes and all of that. We never got to dip into any of that because it was doing so much stuff, and his personality was just not the Lex Luthor that I imagine in my head. Now, I don't have a lot of knowledge on a bunch of different actors out there who could potentially be Lex Luthor. I don't really have any fan cast for that. I feel like I'm not knowledgeable and experienced in the film media area to be able to give that opinion. However, I have seen that it's been recently reported that the Skarsgård brothers are in the running to be DCU's Lex Luthor. And I really do think that both of these actors would be a great fit for Lex Luthor, but I know that James Gunn is going to pick the best person for the role. I think Lex Luthor is critical, and I think that James Gunn knows that he's critical, so I think that we can expect a great actor to play this great character. Now, although I can't give you any other opinions on who I would want to see play Lex Luthor in James Gunn's DCU, I can discuss some of the things that I want whoever is playing Lex Luthor to bring to this character, what he should be like. He needs to be cold, he needs to be calculating, he needs to be stern, and most of all, I need to believe that he really is someone who is incredibly smart. Whoever ends up playing Lex Luthor also needs to show some composure. I need to know that he is controlled. He doesn't act out violently. He's not impulsive. We've seen versions of this character where he's very coward-like, he's traitorous, he's very childlike, and that doesn't fit the character for me. I need to know that he is intimidating, that he has complete and utter control over whatever situation he is thrown into. Lex needs to have a menacing face, a projecting tone. I need to feel his presence in no matter what space he's filling up. I need to see the true threat. I need to see his intellectual prose being thrown into whatever movie he's in. One of the intrigues of this character for me is that, yes, he is evil, he has ill intent, he's malicious, he's bad, but there's also some side of him that really wants to see more of. He's majestic in his own way. The way he moves, the way he talks, the way he kind of holds himself up is very interesting. And there's something about this character that draws him in, but makes me want to keep a comfortable distance from him because you're not supposed to want to be like him. I need to feel like, oh, he's terrifying, stay away from me, but also like, I want to know more about you. And I need to be able to feel that from whoever it is playing this character. I also think that Lex Luthor needs to be played by someone who, of course, looks older than Superman. That's important, right? And I think that's what James Gunn is really going for because David Corenswet is young, he looks young, and we need Lex Luthor to be a little older than he is to show his experience, his wisdom, his knowledge of the world, to show that he's capable and smart, to show that he has been doing this for a long time. I think that'll set up this great dynamic between this young Superman who is looking to see the goodness in people versus a guy who has his own experience and has gone through all of this and sees the cruelty in the world. Overall, you can probably tell that I love the character of Superman, and part of the reason I love Superman is because I love Lex Luthor as a character. This is a character that I don't think a lot of people give the right attention, love, and respect toward. I think a lot of people don't give that to Superman himself. But I think Lex Luthor is a very good villain, and it's one that I hope that James Gunn really sees the potential in. To me, he's a very interesting and complex character, and I like the idea of him being an idealistic challenge to Superman and everything that he represents. Lex Luthor is a very important character in the mythos of Superman, and I think he's just as important as Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, or Ma and Pa Kent. This is a character that we need in the new Superman Legacy movie, and a character that needs to be developed over a long period of time time to show his multi-layered complexity, to show the devious and manipulative personality that Lex Luthor inherently has. He always tries to be this good person, this model, this ideal figure, but deep down we know he's doing something nefarious. He has this evil plan. He's calculating his next move, and he's always thinking of ways not only to beat Superman, but to become #1 in the world, no matter what it takes. So that's going to do it for this video. Please like and subscribe for more superhero content, and share your thoughts on Lex Luthor and him in the DCU down in the comments below. You can check out some of my other videos right over here, and be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more content and updates. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and stay super.